When you're gonna become exclusive?
Try to rile me up and start drama.
I dated women back in college.
I feel like going to sleep mad is very bad.
17 years and they're not married, they have to have an open relationship. Oh, they have to have an open relationship.
Person who tried to break your relationships at some point.
So I wrote an email and I broke up with her by email.
Sometimes if it's like a long-term relationship is like maybe a midlife crisis type moment.
Welcome guys, my name is Art and today I'm not alone. Today I'm with my new friends,
Trevor?
And Jesse.
Trevor and Jesse. So the way we met, I was just bothering people on the street in Chicago, and I met Trevor, and he said that he actually followed me on TikTok. I was like, oh my gosh, and he's from New York, and I was like, why don't we talk in New York City? And then he's this guy who got 600,000 views, who talked about his experience, and they've been together for how many years?
17 years.
For 17 years. So I decided that I would love to learn a little bit more about wisdom, how you made it for 17 years. And I'm going to try to get out of you guys all the challenges and advices you can get to us. So I'm going to put their links down in description. Definitely check them out and give them a follow and say hi from Art. And don't forget to subscribe and also smash the like button, because if you do, it means you're a good person. All right, and I'm gonna have a first question to both of you. How did you guys met? Where are you from? How did you met?
So we are both from Oklahoma, and I was 18, was working at a 16 and up gay bar that did drag shows, and I used to perform in drag.
Oh, you did drag?
I did, yeah. And he came to one of our shows that my friend and I were performing at, that he was friends with my best friend at the time. And we just met through being at the gay bars with each other.
When you saw him, what did you feel? What was in your head?
The thing is, because he was in drag, I didn't know. I had no idea that was him when I saw him. So when I saw him as a boy, I told my friend, because I was friends with his best friend, and I said, who is that guy? He said, you met him last night. And I said, no, I didn't meet him last night. He said, no, he was in drag. And I was like, oh my God. That's the same person. So we started talking. I asked him out on a date, but our first date was at a wedding for Anchor, a news anchor.
That's quite a spot.
that is quite a spot. So maybe we were like, okay. So everybody was like, who is this guy you're bringing to the wedding? He was cute. He was charming. That's how we all started. It was back in 2005.
So were you thinking about that you're going to get into relationships for 17 years? Or because Oklahoma seems like a little bit conservative state, and I'm 17 and a half years ago, it was probably even more conservative than now. What was your background in terms of, like, did you accept yourself? Like, how fast did you came to the terms that, okay, you're gay and like it's fine?
Yeah, I mean, I had known from a very young age that I was gay, and I would say from like third grade on, I was always deemed the gay kid at school, even without me coming out yet. But I came out when I was like 16. I had my first boyfriend at 16. We were together for on and off about a year. You know, was single and started doing drag and was out at the gay bars more often. It wasn't that I was not looking for a boyfriend, but I was just there to be in the community, and then he just kind of fell in my lap from being out. So
you were living already, your life, right? You were a little bit older. Did you were you looking for relationships, or you were just fucking around?
Yeah. So I dated women back in college. So
That just took an unprecedented turn. I did not see this coming. No way. The guy from Oklahoma.
So hello. So I mean, I grew up in obviously I have two brothers, and I obviously grew up in Oklahoma in a smaller town, and so all my life, that's what I knew, and that's what my parents were always saying. Oh, you got to get a girlfriend. You got to get a girlfriend. So I think at a young age, I didn't think anything about it, or maybe I had it in the back of my mind, but I thought, oh, that's not right. I had a girlfriend, and we were in bed, and she said, "What do you think about Mrs. Hamilton?" And I was in shock, and I think I just thought, I don't think about that. I don't think about that at all. And that was the moment I got up and went home, and this is bad. But I wrote an email. This was when there was AOL. So I wrote an email and I broke up with her by email. And I felt horrible, but I was like ashamed, but also didn't know about myself.
And wasn't it Christmas Eve?
and it was Christmas Eve. And
Very nice.
the thing is, I worked with her. So in the newsroom, people in the newsroom were like, "Oh, you're gay. You have to be gay." And I wasn't out, so I was like, "I'm not. No, I'm fucking gay." So I think I had to come to terms with like who I am, be comfortable with myself. And then I don't even remember what year that was. And then I started kind of dating guys. And once I found somebody I really liked, I was with him for a few years, like 2 or 3 years. Bought a house together. We were with each other. And then he decided, one day I came home, he was sitting on the porch and he says, "I'm leaving." And I was like, "What?" Didn't have any he decided he wanted to move to Chicago. So I was like, "What? You're moving to Chicago?" We haven't even talked about this before. And then
That's quite unexpected.
yeah,
You live with this person for 3 years.
yeah. So then he left, and then I started dating a little bit again, but then I got into another long relationship. So I feel like for me, I've always been more leaning toward commitment of like I'm not going to waste my time. If I'm just dating and fucking around, I really don't have time for that. I had gone through that being younger. I just decided, I'm really looking for somebody who I want to spend my time with, who's fun, relaxed, and not dramatic about everything. And so that's kind of where I've had 2 long-term relationships before Trevor.
So you've been together for a long time. How many years you actually lived together?
We were together for about 8 months before we moved into with each other. So then the rest of the 17 years we've lived with each other the whole time.
So you lived the whole time. Mm-hmm. Controversial questions over here. Okay. How did you figure out when you're going to become exclusive?
Well, being in the long-term relationships before, that was really helpful for me because I knew that that's what I wanted. I think once we started dating, I felt like, okay, I'm really interested in him. I'd really like to commit to him. We did have a moment where we broke up. I had been dating this guy before him. We met. That guy kind of went in the background. But then when we broke up, I went and started fucking around with him again. His best friend lived with me. So he would come and visit at my house, and I would bring the other guy back home, and so he was in the next room. So
that's quite a situation.
It was quite a situation, and he was livid. But he would come over to my house and stay there to make me uncomfortable and play that game because he was like, "Look, I fucking want to be with you. I'm going to be here and be seen by you, even if you have someone else over." So and that's kind of crazy, but looking back on it now, I can see how committed he was to be like, "No, I really want to be with you."
So it was from the beginning, kind of.
From the beginning.
Over this 17 years, you were committed in commitment relationships. It
rare.
exists.
Yeah.
You've probably seen a lot of gay couples, and you probably have friends who are gay couples, and you've seen there are open relationships and throuples sometimes, and 11 people dated sometimes. So you've seen a lot of different couples, and you've probably seen a lot of couples who are breaking up. From your experience, why do you think gay people break up?
I think a lot of it sometimes, if it's like a long-term relationship, is like maybe a midlife crisis type moment. But also there is, for some reason in the gay community, a lot of people will start to get bored and just stray from that. We've had that happen to a few of our friends that are couples, and we've had to live through the breakups of those and have to pick sides. And
it's probably sucks because
yeah.
Well, I will say that I was watching the TikTok video you had when Trevor was there and answered the question about how long have you been together. So you look through comments and stuff, and people are like, "Oh, then 17 years and they're not married, they have to have an open relationship." Yeah. Oh, they have to have an open relationship. Always, So, and for me, I was like, "Oh my God, look!" But I mean, that's what people immediately. If you don't know somebody, you think, "Oh, it totally has to be something else. There's something else going on." I get it all the time. Yeah. So I'm like, no, we really are committed to each other. The reason that it took so long for me to even propose was, for me, it worked without having a piece of paper. That's how I saw it back then.
But also when we got together, we couldn't get married. Like that wasn't that wasn't available to us.
Got it. That's
Yeah.
a good point. That's
Yeah.
a very good point.
Yeah.
I say that a lot of people don't realize that gay marriage wasn't existent, till 2015 or whatever it was. So you've been together at this point for like 10 years
Yeah.
or how many years?
10
like
years.
10 years, right? So you were not able to get married. But a lot of people in these comments, especially the younger people who are spoiled and living in a little bit open society, they don't realize this, and it was like 17 years. Well, bro, 17 years. Amsterdam was the first city, the Netherlands was the first country, and they did it in 2000 or 2001.
Yeah.
So when you looked and you picked the sides of the friends who are breaking up, like you said, they get bored. What do you think is the biggest, why do they break up?
Just listening to friends, I think that they do get bored, or they think there are some gay people who are always looking for the next better thing. Like they're using a relationship as a stepping stone. Like, oh, this is a great person. They're settling. I hear that a lot. Like, oh, well, he's fine. I would never want to be, if he ever said, oh, well, you're fine to be with, I would be offended. I wouldn't even take my time to be in a relationship. But I feel like sometimes they're looking for the next big thing. So whether it's money or looks or house or whatever that is, we have had friends who have done that, and we've had friends who that's happened to, which is unfortunate because I feel like sometimes it's very superficial or it's just dramatic. Sometimes people feel like if their life is just boring, whatever boring is, like sitting stable, then they feel like, oh, I need excitement. So I don't know if they like to stir it up. It's like the housewives. It's like they always have to have some type of dramatic thing going on.
Why do you think it happens? Do you think it happens because gay people were pressured so much and they're just not used to being good, maybe being comfortable, or like, what are your thoughts?
For me, for so long, I had to be hidden. I had to be hidden from my family, from my friends, and you learn to live a life of hiding things. So
Constant adrenaline.
constant adrenaline, and you're having to quietly sneak around and do all that stuff. Once you're open about yourself and you realize, like, I'm fine with who I am and I don't care what people think, then to me that helped me be more stable. But yeah, it's like I think that people learn to live a hidden life, and it's that dramatic in their mind. Like they always need something going on.
I don't know. I think it's tough for there's so many hormones behind it too, the testosterone, and people are very sex driven. And so if there's a drought in a certain time of someone's relationship, maybe that mixed with some other things that might be going on, it causes.
So you think it comes from sex as well?
Yeah.
How do you guys, because you've been together for a long time, how do you not get bored of each other? That's like a question for everyone for advice. Or maybe you do. How do you deal with when you do? Because no one is going to be 100% in love. It's a fairy tale. Straight or gay, it doesn't exist, right? How do you keep relationship interesting and fresh? I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about just life in general. Because at some point there's so many vacation you already took, there's so many meetings, there's so many weddings you went, and at some point whatever you did, you kind of already done together, right? So how do you stay in balance with yourself?
I think for us, our personalities are so different yet alike that we balance each other out. I may be quirky, he's not, or he may be quirky, I'm not. So we kind of play off of that for each other, and it just entertains one another. I don't know, it works for us. I don't know that there's really like a special recipe or a secret to it.
You don't take any special steps that you think, okay,
No.
I'm going to throw out his socks on the floor
No.
to make him all mad, like.
I'm kind of a spontaneous person, so I like to surprise him by things, but also just the normal living. Like last night we went to dinner. I've been off on vacation all week, but we went to dinner, and when he showed up, I said, I don't say things like this out loud very often, but I told him, I said, my favorite part of the day is when I get to see you and when you come home. And to me, that's also why I proposed, because I was in 2019, right? World Pride is where I proposed, and it was just the moment. And I thought, you know what? It is exciting for me to see him every day, and I know it's 17 years. I know that
There's so many more.
For a lot, and so many more, and people can get bored. But you know what? He keeps me entertained. We laugh at each other still. We entertain each other. We also know when we're irritated with each other. We step away. We can read each other really well, and so
That's a good thing that you said.
yeah, it's like if I see he's irritated, I'll know immediately if he's irritated with me, and I know if I've irritated him. We know we will. I'll step away. I'll go take a shower. He'll go take a shower. He'll go listen to his music, and I know he'll just walk out of the room. And it's not that he's not yelling. We don't yell at each other.
No.
Well, I don't think we've ever had a moment. We maybe had a couple moments, but not
Early
early on.
Yeah.
But even now, when we get irritated, we just talk about it. Like take the moment, step away for a second, and then we come back and we'll either talk about it or it wasn't that big of a deal. Move on.
Yeah, we pick and choose the battles a lot. Like, just if it's worth actually being upset about, and it just kind of helps prioritize your emotions and what's important. So,
Any of you jealous person or no? Jealous type?
I can be, yeah.
He's more because he's more of the jealous type. I'm not jealous because I know that he's not. Well, I mean, I know he's not going to go out and do anything. I mean, I trust him. So I think a lot of times the jealousy comes from maybe you don't trust as much. I mean, I don't feel maybe jealous early on in the relationship, but not now.
You've been together so many years, and did you had a person who tried to break your relationships at some point?
So he mentioned earlier that when we were dating for the first chapter of our life, there was an ex-boyfriend that in between us breaking up, he went back to. He was very dramatic, and this is back like during AOL Instant Messenger where we would message each other and stuff, pick fights. And I had never met him at this point, and so he would message me and like try to rile me up and start drama. When they were going back and forth and kind of when we were broken up and they were kind of dating again, I was at their house because my best friend was the roommate. Yeah. So I mean, I was
just because of this.
I was there. This ex-boyfriend of his made a point to. I knew he was in the other room and I had not met him, and I was like ignoring the fact that he was there. But he came out of Jesse's room, came and knocked on Ben's room. Was like, "Hi, my name's Maddie. I just wanted to introduce myself to you," which made me come fully unglued.
How did you deal with this? Like, did you, whenever someone like tried to ruin relationships, or someone is like sliding in your DMs, or someone, do you pay attention or do you just cut it off? Like, and that's just the easiest thing, right? Because like pretty much when someone slides in my DMs, and if I see that they're looking for something that I just never respond, or like. But like, there are some situations maybe at work sometimes, when you can't just cut off the person.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, in this situation with the ex, it was easy for me to cut him off because he was not relevant to me, and clearly I won. So I got you in the end. But people will sometimes send like, messages or something on Instagram, like DMs and stuff, and it's just knowing what you're secure with and knowing like what that boundary is that we have for each other so that it doesn't become inappropriate.
Okay.
So it doesn't bother me if someone else is making an effort as long as it's not being retaliated against,
And for you?
Yeah, it's the same way for me because people will slide in the DMs. Sometimes for me, people are coming into my DMs just to ask a question about just because of the work I do. They'll have a question about news or have a story. Sometimes I can see that they'll start with that because I feel like that's their in, and then they want to turn the conversation, and I'm just like, oh no.
A lot of times, like people who are in gay community, again, I love gays, but I might sound like I don't. I love gays, but like they can feel like the friendship might be okay. Might be something more, or there's like so funny though. Whenever something like this happens, my boyfriend, he would give them the most benefit of the doubt. He's like, "Art, are you sure you're not just being mean?" I was like, "Pumpkin, like, I know they want something like, I see it, but I see it very closely, so that's why I cut it off." So you mentioned that in order for you to keep it fresh and do stuff, you never like really fight, and you give each other space. I have a friend, and he's been also together for 13 years with this guy, and they have 3 kids. And I asked him, so how to make it in a relationship? It's like, give each other space. Yeah. And everyone in comments, there's like, give each other space. What's your recipe or like secret like, how do you know when you give each other space, and how do you know when you need to come back, like, to not give too much space each other, like, are you okay, like, for example, when sometimes you have to travel for work separately, when sometimes you have friends who are like, okay, you want to go on vacation with this friend, but you cannot go to vacation with him because you're working more, for example. What's the balance, and is there any secret? Do you just feel it intentionally? Like, when do you need to, like, stop giving each other space? Like, hey, let's watch TV show.
For us, like, I know if it's a situation like where we've maybe gotten each other's nerves, or there's like a disagreement and we have to kind of, give each other space for a moment, as long as we kind of both know that we've both cooled off, we can kind of read the temperature of the room and kind of know when it's okay to come back. And, it's never very much time that's lapsed, but just kind of enough to kind of take a breather and step away. So like you said earlier, like, take a shower, listen to music, and kind of, de-stress. But as far as like traveling with friends, like when we met, I was with Sebastian and his partner. I was in Chicago for a wedding, and he wasn't able to come, but he just trusted and knew that, like, in that space, like, we were in a situation where, like, there wasn't going to be anything that would have to be worried about. So it just works out for us. Like, it was a small little weekend trip, and if he were to do the same, like, it's cool.
I trust the people he's with. I trust he's not hanging out with it. Now, if he said, I'm going to go hang out with this person I just met, and I'm going to hang out over the weekend, I'm going to stay at their hotel room, I'd be like, well, okay, what the fuck is going on? Whenever, even when we step away for even space, even if he needs to leave the apartment, we both know each other's best friends. So I know where he's going, and he would know where I was going if I needed to step away. So we trust each other like that. But I don't feel like we ever. Usually, if we need space, it's space in the apartment. Like, we'll go to another room. For us, it's just a few hours, but that's because we also work so much. So we are separated. I think naturally work is that space for us. If we worked from home together,
It's harder.
I think you kind of have to take that space.
Yeah, it's been years since we've actually had to, like, have days apart from each other, like, just because of a disagreement. Like, that's so few and far between.
Right.
So.
Kids, yes or no?
No.
Not for you. Why?
I think I'm too selfish with my sleep and my time and my things. I don't know.
Chelsea Handler put it perfectly. She always says, I fucking don't have kids because I love to have my time. I am very selfish with my time, and I can lay in bed all day and not have to do anything, and I'm fine with that. And you know what? If people don't want to have kids, it's okay not to have kids.
He has nephews. I have nieces and nephews that, we kind of live vicariously through our family, and those are our children from a distance that we can kind of be the cool uncles. And
Favorite TV show that you both like?
Wednesday is really good.
currently, yeah.
Favorite movie that you both like?
I don't know that we have a mutually favorite movie.
We don't have a favorite movie together.
Yeah.
When are you guys gonna get married?
So the plan was, when we got engaged in 2019, was that we were going to get married in the fall of 2020, but then the world exploded. So now the plan is probably next fall. Yeah.
We didn't want to have people wearing masks at our wedding.
it's
Yeah.
stupid.
So we wanted to wait until we knew that it was really out of the woods
Before we
and
started
planning, because that's, here to find a venue. So yeah.
And we've been together for so long that it didn't feel
What's
like it
another
was a
year?
rush to have to run into it. So,
Do you have more gay friends, guys or girls?
guys.
Oh, guys, definitely.
Yeah.
Best advice for gay relationships?
Passion, understanding, and love each other.
Open communication.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So this is Jesse and Trevor, guys. Thank you so much for guys being so cool and very easy. Went very easy. Pretty much, I think that I think I learned a lot from myself from conversation. It's like a good learning day for me, Definitely I agree with you on terms of like space and communication. And everyone says communication, but no one really realizes that it takes a lot of work and communicate, because everyone can be stubborn at their home and just, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play video game, or I'm just going to watch something on TV and then don't talk and then go to sleep. I feel like going to sleep mad is very bad always when you're together. Well, I wish you a beautiful wedding, hopefully very soon. Please let me know in the comments, guys, if you have any questions to Trevor and Jesse. Maybe we'll do one more video at some point, and if you guys have comments, questions, concerns, and I would really, really want to learn from you, because you guys been together 17 years, pretty long time, probably much more. We talked with my boyfriend, and I was like, we were very serious about each other, and I was like, at some point we were talking, I was like, so it means if we date for 30 years, I'm only going to be 57 or like 56, 55. And he's like, yeah, but then there's gonna be 40 years. It's gonna be actually 40 years then. And then like, what's my math? So it's so many years together. So you have a lot of years together. Thank you so much. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and leave the questions. I really, really appreciate your time. Look at their beautiful home. Holy moly, like this is insane. This is like, I'm just gonna do like this, okay? Look at this Christmas tree, guys. Like this is, you can totally see that gay people live here. Like this is the apartment tour, you know what I mean? So thank you so much. And now we are going to go and get a drink. Peace. Subscribe and smash the like button. Bye.